Afternoon, my beloved Bahamians. Christy, I love hearing you speak. I love hearing you speak. Which is why I put the first slide on here, because that's the feel I've got from the conference today. And I'm a little bit confused as to why I'm here, so I'm technically, as I'll go on to explain, driftwood. Which everyone wanted to give this talk. Everyone I've spoken to wants to sort of complain, wants to explain what's going to mess things up, what's wrong. I don't really want to do that. I actually entitled the talk Digital Paradise, which is a little bit more of a thing. But I firstly want to say thank you to Damien from Alive, because I came here to sail and to fly planes, and now I'm on a stage. This is supposed to be a holiday. Thank you. I'm a senior developer. At some point, you're going to have to deal with someone like me. So what was prescient about what just got said was, how do you develop an idea once you have it? So I'm the guy you come and speak to who helps you plan and build. And once you've built it, if something goes wrong, I fix it. So taking your idea from where it is now into reality is what I do. I have no agenda. I have no filter. So we're going to be doing real talk. Where to begin? I also write films in the evenings. A little bit of really interesting news. Last night I was at Bones Bar and I came down with a couple of guys who I work with. I have 15 different clients at the moment. I tend to do them simultaneously, which is exhausting. But one of our clients came down from Vancouver, was sitting over a drink and said, why don't we build a call center here? We were going to build it somewhere else. So as of last night, we have a call center in Grand Bahama because of this summit. Thank you guys. Good job. We've got a lot to get through. I'm going to zoom through a lot of slides, so bear with me. If you've got a notepad, you want to jot things down. Now, I know the most wonderful thing about this conference is that it was started with a prayer. I'm a prayerful man, and Bahamians are a prayerful people. So I've got a word for you guys first. And this is the most appropriate thing I can think of when we're talking about confidence. You remember this scripture? Joshua 1:9, be strong and courageous. Have I not commanded you? That's how we start. Strength and courage. Do not be discouraged. I can give you a talk here about what's going to hinder things. I'm going to talk to you about how we're going to get past this. So the first thing I want to talk about the Bahamas is as a startup. Oh, that one. Where are the young digital Bahamians? Why are there a bunch of old people on the stage? Talking about things they've already done. We need for people what they're going to do. There are 7 or 8 at least people who have spoken to me here who have got ideas they wanted me to say here. And I said, why not just give up my 20 minutes and put you people on stage? That would be a lot easier. So some of my talk is going to be a little bit confrontational, but it's done in love, because I love this country. So the first thing you know about me, I'm a senior developer, so I do coding and programming. I've been a digital nomad for 15 years. I've worked with a lot of people. I'm not going to give you a resume because I just don't care about that. The first thing you need to know is I don't use this language, and neither should you. When I wrote this morning, this is meaningless. All of this kind of jargon. Anyone who talks to you about solutions and architecture and whatever and Internet of Things, language is the means to meaning. Simple, direct language is the quickest way to communicate. If you cannot possibly get around that, how are you going to express your idea to anyone or get anywhere else either? Next thing, we've got to do this now. Right? Not tomorrow, so we're going to learn to code today. Everyone here is going back to school, and everyone's going to learn how to read computer code. This is essentially the basis of what we do in development. We're making a decision in code. This is called a conditional statement. If something is true, do something. If it's not, don't do something. And you can all detect the hidden message in here. This is what a computer does. Runs this particular type of thing. We're going to make some decisions. So what in the second bit here, you can see this is running a function. What we'll do at the second bit, if something is true, we're going to run through a list of things and do lots and lots of things. This is the basics of computer programming. If you can read this, and you understand what that does, you can build something in technology. But that is the fundamentals. Now, we've had explanations of blockchains and lots of talk about this. Mr. Minnis talked about that. And a lot of other people talked about blockchains and blockchains and blockchains. And people saying, well, if you understand blockchains, then you don't understand them. No. Blockchains are very, very simple to understand. If you don't get it in 30 seconds, just don't bother reading it. And I'll tell you why. Blockchains are a 200,000-year-old human problem. So what we're going to talk about, you see this crowd here, we're going to learn this in 30 seconds. If you can't get it in that, then why are we building it? That's a huge crowd of different people. We can't agree, ever. Human history has never allowed us to agree about anything, ever. We have a crazy mob of people in a village square. Somehow we have to reach an agreement. They need to elect a leader, for example. So which leader do we elect? How do we elect them? It always ends in conflict. We need a 51% vote. So we've got to get these guys to come to a consensus. They don't like each other, they don't trust each other. Chaos results. So what we do is we've found a mathematical algorithm that allows us to irrevocably to auto-organize a group to come to a decision. That's what blockchain methodology is. We couldn't do it before because we didn't have the computers and the cryptography that we needed. But that is essentially it. And what we needed before, in the last 200,000 years ago, we couldn't agree on money, so we needed banks. We couldn't agree on how to organize ourselves, so we needed government. Once the crowd has a way, at this point, to automatically organize itself, we have no need for any more of those things, because we can do it mathematically. That's how to understand blockchains. I came to the attention, I'm a volunteer, so I literally came over for an extended vacation. So when I got here, I was very frustrated because I couldn't find out where Cable Beach was and Love Beach, and I didn't know where everything is, I didn't know how to get where I needed to go. So I started looking at GIS data, geographic stuff. Worked with a company called Mapbox. Couldn't find any boundary shapes like I would be able to do elsewhere. And I'm aware a couple of other people working on projects like this, but the problem is the data is hoarded by people, hoarded, and for commercial gain. So we have something obviously in technology called open source. So we grabbed 80,000 of these records and we've thrown them up for any developer to use at any point for any reason. So we can start to develop some traffic applications and geography-based things and what. And I've done a few more things after that. One of the next projects we're working on is this. I don't know when my next bus is arriving. I love the buses, but they drive me crazy. They stop at 7 o'clock, I don't know where they are. So we started talking to a couple of people in NASA that were doing this, strictly on a voluntary basis for anyone who's involved in immigration here. And they told us they were going to be billed $30,000 to do this, to track these buses. And I know Alive are already doing this. They're already doing it with their bus. They know exactly where their little cars are at any moment. So I said, well, we can do this for $20. Why on earth do we need $25,000? What kind of Ferrari do they want to buy with this? So this is a GPS tracker. It's $1. We get the $1, we stick it on the bus. 3 hours, we write an API, and we can watch it live on a Google map. It was 3 hours. We don't need big things. We don't need big money. We just need smart money, and we need smart thinking. But that is every day. That was 2 lines of code to do that, to report the latitude and longitude. Now, when we're thinking about the biggest question, actually, no, I've actually skipped way ahead. I'm a digital nomad. I know a couple of other people have talked about this before. And I call them, well, as we sort of tend to call ourselves, Bahama llamas or Bahama drama llamas, Bahama llama drama bananas. I can just work anywhere there's Wi-Fi. So I've been working in Canada for 3 years, and I decided I was coming to the Bahamas because it's my favorite country in the world. I've traveled... Give yourself a round of applause, good job. I've traveled to 64 different countries, and I've been all over the place, and hopefully by December I'm going to add 21 more when I go to the Caribbean. But this is number one. And I say that sincerely. I love this place. I've got a list of reasons, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But I truly love the Bahamian people. I love this place. I've loved every single minute of living here, and it seems that nobody wants to let me leave in Nassau at the moment. So, which is going to work to my advantage, I think. So a digital nomad is basically someone who's not attached to their desk. You can work online anywhere. Now, the interesting thing about digital nomads, there's hundreds of them in the Bahamas now. We have empty hotels we can put them up in. They're traveling through as we speak. You've probably met a few. They come in on a tourist visa, and they enjoy themselves, they work, they report back in, and then they go back home again. So we have the resources actually sitting in the Bahamas right now who can help. And I'm going to tell you a bit of reason why they're a little bit hidden in a bit. But so I was making my decision. How do I come down to the Bahamas? It was a very easy decision. I'm British. I love all the old cinema and the romance of this place. I love the Bahamian people. I love the fact that there's stand-up comedy with every Bahamian I ever speak to, ever. The honest truth. I love the strength of Bahamian women. I love the manliness of Bahamian men. I love just the hilarity every single time. I love the language. I love the dialect. And the fact, the number one aspect I love is the playfulness of Bahamians. Oh. So this was my decision tree. The most important thing, if you scan down the list, you've got Sean Connery, the finest Bond of all time. Lives in your wonderful land. But I can go through all these options in detail. Basically, everything's good. There's no possible ambiguity in the decision. It's a very simple, easy one to make. The things that put me back were, oh, hang on a minute, the rent is very, very expensive. I'm going to need to bill very high and get more clients. Not sure about the work situation. I can't get an Amazon delivery. Some of those things, but they were fundamentally really, really small things. They massively outweighed the benefits. I've got to keep referring back here so I can actually remember where I am. But there's also a resource for digital nomads called Nomad List. So what you do is when you go into a new city is you have a guide, in effect. This is for Nassau. There's nothing for Freeport, so I have no idea what it's like to live here. There are 15,000, 25,000 registered users, and when they're going between Thailand and they're going between Saudi Arabia, or they want to go down to Bali, or they want to do something else vacuous like go to Europe for like a day or two, you have this. So you go and check this. This is the score for Nassau. It's not too bad. Barbados is a lot worse. But as you can see, big problem is the cost of living and the walkability. But who cares about walkability? It's 21/7 in Nassau, and you get to relax and enjoy yourself. But there's a lot of criteria, but that will tell you all you need to know. There's nothing for Freeport. I have no idea. So we're going to do that tomorrow. We're in the live office. We're going to go and we're going to start putting some reviews on there and getting Freeport on the map immediately. All right. Number one question I get from all my colleagues, and I work for 15 different companies, Canada, US, Europe, pretty much everywhere. That's their question. Do you have internet there? And I said, yeah, I have internet which is 10 times faster than Canada and 10 times cheaper. And they said, well, what about mobile coverage? And I said, we have 20 megs a second here. And their next question is, oh my God, can I move there? So the fundamental issue here is perception. It's perception. There needs to be something done about this. I mean, I'm going to make some suggestions about that, but that is the number one question that everyone has, and I get it every single day. How do you work there? Have they got any internet? Can you use your mobile phone there? What's the connectivity like? Another thing you need to know, Silicon Valley sucks. Really sucks. I'm sorry for everyone who thinks it's really good, but I don't. And I have a problem with Silicon Valley. I have lots of problems with Silicon Valley, other than their horrendous ideology, their enormous rent rates, their some of the idiotic products that come out of there as well. But some of these people are earning, like Netflix, for example, is $273,000 a year basic salary. Google's Chris, you better tell me, but the last thing I heard was about $110,000 a year. But they can't afford to live here. It sucks. Their quality of life is appalling. So they don't want to be there, they want to be here. So then we have to look at this. How do you sell Grand Bahama? Well, it's easy. We've already done it. It's very, very simple. It's this. Jet ski to work, code on the beach. Who wants to sit in an office? Why would you want to sit in an office when you can code on the beach? I was doing outside the Lucayan yesterday, working there. I don't want to, that's why I came here. I don't want to sit in an office. I do not. Some of the people you meet in those offices are awful. Appalling people. Oh, goodness me. So it's easy. So perception advertisements. The one thing the government can do is actually inform people this is a seriously connected place. Now we've got a live in, we've got some serious acceleration on top of it. They've got 100 megabit a second running into Atlantis. We've got 20 megs a second on those phones. That's faster than anything up there. Okay, so now in terms of government, so I'm going to go through a couple of things, and forgive me if I'm moving fast, but we'll start with government, we'll go through legal, financial, etc. Now, the country you want to beat is Estonia. Now, nobody knows where Estonia is. I had to look up Estonia, but it's this little place on the corner here, former sort of Russian Federation territory. This is renowned as the most competitive, the most progressive e-government in the world. And it's a tiny, small little country next to my beautiful England, which is, it's beating the world. It's way ahead. I'm going to talk about why it's way ahead. And it doesn't seem like it because we think America's the most progressive, which is becoming a bit of a joke in the last couple of months, the same with Canada and the rest of them. Another thing you'll know is that Silicon, there's a bit of an open secret. Silicon Valley likes to play with its products before it puts them out to the market. You know where it does it? New Zealand. And the reason it does it in New Zealand is because it's a very small, digitally connected economy with a very small area in which they can get high quality, sophisticated digital feedback. And this is a thing from a magazine, basically one of the VCs explaining why they do it in New Zealand, why it's a good place to do it. So if you want to find more out about that, this is a fantastic book to read, giving you an idea about how you can turn a small country into something that has an enormous impact. First question, why are the registries not online? We've got Ancestry, we've got Find My Past. Where are the birth registries? Where are the deaths, marriages, land registries? Come on, man, where are they? If they can do it, this is a country of 300,000-ish people. This is not hard. Now, I heard there was a guy talking this morning about doing government scanning and getting in documents and court documents. Not sure who it was. Let's go. If you need a hand, give me a call. More government information. This is the British government website. This is what I was looking when I did the Bahamas GIS thing. I wanted shapes and polygons to find out postcodes and everything. Open data. There's no reason for the government not to post this for everyone. It's the people's data. It's public data. So this is not something to be held on to. Right. Now, my favorite, this is for me, and if there is anyone from immigration, I don't think. Right, this is what I think you should do. We've been wanting for this digital nomads all over the world. Digital people, this is so simple, you won't believe. Thailand's introduced what's called a digital nomad visa, but it's not really a digital nomad visa. So for someone like me or anyone else coming through customs, I don't work here, I don't pay tax, I don't take out from the economy, I don't compete with the labor force. But what I do is my clients pay me elsewhere and offshore, and I literally get to have vacation here. I get to live in paradise and to do my job too. So what we need, and what thousands of people who go through these cities every day want, is this. A simple way when you come through the airport, instead of coming on a tourist visa where you get stamped for 2 or 3 years and you can contribute back. Because the definition of work under Bahamian law means any gainful activity, which essentially means I could potentially be deported for being here because the government were nice enough to pay my hotel here, which is gainful. So it's ambiguous at that point. Now, Bahamians are not going to do that because they're very nice, obviously. Aren't you, government people? If you'd like me to put on handcuffs before I end, absolutely, I'll oblige you. This is easy. It's simple to do. This is a piece of legislation. I'm sure there are complexities that come with it. Let's do it the first one. Nobody else has done this. The Thai people are trying to get in on this. But let's do it. It's easy. You've got them here already. They'll flood in so they can code on the beach. Canada began this in the end. They tried to convince me to do a work permit up there in June. I couldn't do it because I never want to be cold again. And so this is the idea that Donald Trump is killing off the H1B visas. I actually had a really offensive slide about Donald Trump in here earlier, which I took out on advice. Because I knew I was going to be a bit confrontational today, but I didn't want to be insulting. So Canada is exploiting the H1B issue, and it's saying everyone who didn't go to the US, come to us. So they're prioritizing economic digital professions and fast tracking them. You can get a work permit in 3 weeks in Canada. If you've got a digital background, you've been certified. I like this one. This is a really fun. This is Estonia again. E-residency. Estonia sit down and said, well, hang on a minute. Countries don't have any borders anymore. But we want companies incorporating here. We want people paying tax here. We want people following our regulations. So you can go anywhere in the world where there's an Estonian embassy. You can register for an ID card, and you can be resident for tax and business purposes in Estonia and qualify for all the benefits if you want. And all you do is you sign in with your card reader online. You incorporate your company. And you're done. And you get all the benefits they have. Now imagine if you did that to the Bahamas. Imagine 400 banks here and all the benefits, and you can double your population overnight, essentially. Now this isn't very interesting. So this is my least interesting slide. And I work with a client simply about this. Now this is about Adobe. Adobe have an absolute racket going. An absolute racketeering operation going with this. Digital signatures are incredibly important for signing documents, especially government ones, dealing with the US, property allowances, that type of thing. You need what's called a root certificate authority, and they're the same things that are used when you use HTTPS. And they're very expensive, is what you need to know. There are pieces of hardware that will cost $25,000. For personal signing, it will be $1,000. But you can easily, if you're a government, you can easily create a root authority for signing documents. Very easy. Again, they're just text documents. You can build it in a week. Mobile POS. This is good. Taxis need somewhere to build their clients, like they have in Canada, for example, on excursions. Now, this is a really, really tough challenge, and I tell you why it's a very, very tough challenge, because you can't get Bahamian dollars, as far as I'm aware, from a credit card online directly into a Bahamian bank. Now, I've run into at least 30 or 40 people in the last couple who have been begging me for help with this specific problem. They want out of the Canadian and the US system, and they want to go directly into Bank of Bahamas or Scotia Bank or Commonwealth Bank. But the payment gateway isn't there, which is the thing. Now, we can get it done. Now, the reason people don't go to this problem is because it's too intimidating. Everyone says it takes $2 million worth of investment. You need huge teams. You have problems with the banks. But Bank of Bahamas are using, I can't remember, Send POS, I think it was. I don't know who Commonwealth are using. The solution's already there. It's very easy. So I sat down with 3 or 4 of my guys. We built it the concept, the architecture in about a day and a half. Now, it can be, once you do that, this is actually effectively my retirement idea as well, because whoever does this is going to make a lot of money. Stripe for the Caribbean. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Stripe, Stripe are a very interesting country. Now, forgive me if you have seen these concepts before, because I don't know the level of technical acumen in the audience. So, Stripe are a payment provider that are all over. They don't support the Bahamas, which is insane because they should. But they have this as a developer. A couple of years ago, you would try and put a payment form on a website somewhere through a gateway, and you'd have to go through merchant banking agreements. You'd have to go through huge amounts of regulation, and it was impossibly difficult. So what Stripe did, he said, well, we want to make people do this in 10 minutes. Now, every developer, this is programmable money. It's programmable online payments. It's one of the most successful online payment thing that I know of, other than PayPal and Braintree, who are a direct competitor. These guys went from a couple of people in a garage to a multi-billion-dollar company in a year or 2. That's how desperately it's needed. We can build it. If you want it, I'll give it to you. We've got the architecture. I'll put it up. Anyone wants it later, we'll open source it and we'll throw it over. One of you guys from Grand Bahama, build this. If you need a hand, I've got a coffee and I drink Killick. All right. Here's nothing. First thing I look for in Nassau, and you're co-working. It's lonely working at home. It could be lonely working on the beach. So this is a shot from a company called WeWork. They filled this place up in Montreal, 700 people. They filled it up in 2 days. Nomads and digital people don't like working at home all the time. They want somewhere they can collaborate together. So now there's 2 or 3 people in Nassau who've tried to do this, but it's too expensive. The rents are too high. There are hundreds of programmers I know and technical people in Nassau now, for example, but they want a place like this. It's too expensive. So someone needs to help them out. Someone needs to subsidize these things. And there's small coffee shop type environments. You can't work in Starbucks all your life because eventually they throw you out. Now this is the one for Alive, wherever the Alive people are. We need a journey planner. We desperately need this. These are small islands comparatively. And we talked about Bahamian Uma, we talked about sharing in the business model, you know, in the panel a minute ago. But how do we get from place to place? I want to go to Exuma and I want to get on a boat and I want to maybe go down to Long Island. Next week I'm traveling from the 14th to the 21st. I'm taking some time off because I want to see everything here. But how do I get around? I take a flight from here, I go from there, I've got a boat which I need to go somewhere here. Do I get a jitney there? Do I get a taxi there? I have no idea how to get around. And this is easy. So, Mr. Alive people, put this, how about the Alive Journey Planner at some point? Or maybe BTC if you know, anyway. If they're still around. Oh no, it's mean, that was mean-spirited. I apologize, that was mean-spirited. That wasn't Bahamian, I'm sorry. Glad I don't own a BTC phone. I wouldn't anymore after this talk. Mr. Customs guy who I was having lunch with, I want Amazon to my house. Why can't I have Amazon here? I have to use a courier company. It's going to cost me a lot of money. We need postcodes or geographic locations. I want to order something really badly at 2 o'clock in the morning and regret it when it turns up 2 days later. at my house. I'm not sure how this works, but I got told essentially sometimes the duty fees, I mean, apparently they're, from what I have a very, very limited understanding, but I understand they can be potentially, in some cases, up to 35%, which is fair enough. Everyone understands duties, but delivery, I don't want to contract someone and pay 4 times the amount for something terrible that I don't want in the first place anyway. Government website. Looking at you, ministers of government and people down there in the front row. What is this? What is this? Pretty horrifying. This is the press release for the tech conference. Looks very engaging, doesn't it? I got through about, I reckon, at least a sentence of that. It sounds very interesting now, I'm sure. Very attractive design. I'm in so much trouble after this talk. This is the link. So I was going to try and send this on WhatsApp. I was going to send this on Facebook. What am I going to do? Someone said, can I read the fresco, the thing? That's the URL. This is Lotus Notes, as you can see at the URL, I think. Wonderful. Great job, everyone. Anyone, if you've got a copy and paste, anyone wants to transcribe that or write that manually, be my guest. Let's just leave that up for a couple of minutes. There we go. Anyone? I will pay $50 unofficially to anyone who will transcribe that and forward that to me on WhatsApp in the next 10 minutes. It's not going to happen, is it? Okay. Data centers we might be able to put in Grand Bahama. The problem is, you don't put your data somewhere where there's going to be hurricanes. And we all know there are going to be hurricanes. And people tend, businesses get scared because they have agreements that are 99.9999% uptime. Now that's obviously going to be a little bit difficult if you've got a Category 5 hurricane. And incidentally, I was actually here when Irma was supposed to arrive. So I've now got on my desk, I code through Cat 5, even though we didn't get an Irma in the end. So my advice to people here is if people in businesses do get scared, and this is a bit of a fun slide, so forgive me, I love this, it was just genuinely hilarious, which is how Bahamians, you guys are the experts. This is what you need to tell them. Don't get scared. We deal with this, we get this fixed. We can put a data center here, no problem at all. We'll get it done. We got regulations, we can fix it. Now, this is a bit of a controversial slide. Is anyone from the University of Bahamas in here? Okay, don't hate me for this. I want to say this with love. We had to talk about earlier. What's this? You have to sign apparently, according to the website, no, sure, there's a quicker way to do this. Lovely University of the Bahamas people. You want to get a .bs domain. I tried to get one of these. I looked at it and gave up after like 30 seconds. You have to fill out a Word form and either email it and send it by post. And it's $500 a year, that apparently, and I'm sure this might be a very different situation, but this is the published stuff. If you're a developer and you want to build and you want to suggest what you want to do, what is going on here? Someone, for the love of all that is good. I have no idea. I can go to GoDaddy, I can buy, for $5, I can buy a .com name in 30 seconds. And .bs is the funniest domain name ever. I want to get liberal.bs, conservative.bs, government.bs. Give it away free, it's easy. We can get this fixed in a week. We can do this in 5 days if we need to. This is not good enough. It's been going on for ages. There's no organized country that's got a domain registry like that. I'm so sorry, honey. I've got to say it, because otherwise I get the rage. Now, this is an interesting one. Now, one of the companies I work with in Washington, D.C. is called Sea Straight. Now, I've been doing a lot of more volunteer work with Brief, who preserve the marine reefs. I learned to dive here, which was amazing. I really, really enjoyed myself. So we sat down and I thought, how can we do a bit more marine work? Because I just love the underwater world. It's like Finding Nemo, obviously. And I'd never been growing up in England. It was too cold to do any of this stuff. Brief are doing some really interesting work. And I mean really interesting work. We're going to we want to find out who the oil spill guys and the illegal fishers are, and we want to do it real time so we can send it over to the Defense Force and get these guys out, stop them bleaching the waters, stop them putting the oil in order very quickly. And this technology is pretty straightforward. It's very, very straightforward. This is a satellite report which has come in. I think that's Andros, obviously underneath. My geography isn't brilliant. Sea Straight, my company, is working, the company I work for, is at this point talking with the guys at Brief. We're doing image recognition on these things. Now, that sounds a bit complicated and very heavy, but what you need to know is that the library we're using to do it was built in the 80s by IBM. So if there's any developers in the audience, you'll probably know it's called OpenCV. They bundle it with Android. It's the thing that Facebook used to do the little squares to tag people's faces. Pretty easy. Does it look like it's a fish? If not, circle it. That could be a boat. Is it a cruise liner? No. So we can do that in literally, a computer can make that decision in seconds. So this is in the moment we get this stuff out, we can get it over to the Defense Force, they can go over and then get these people out. This is the next thing we can do, which is quite fun, virtual reality filming in the reef. So this is a fun thing, which is for sale. We're going to go and hopefully, if all goes to plan, go for a bit of a dive and we're going to preserve the reef forever, digitally. Now, how do you get people caring about reefs? The way you get them caring about reefs is you've got to get them emotional about it. I didn't understand how cool the reef was until I went and actually touched it. Apparently I wasn't supposed to touch it, but I touched it anyway. It's amazing. So we hope we're going to play with this at the Underwater Sculpture Garden, which again is another Bahamas unique thing that nobody else has. So we're going to put it on virtual reality masks. How do you get through to the guy who's playing Call of Duty in his apartment, who needs to be personally inspired and make better life choices, obviously, but how do you get them actually physically into the waters, coming here for tourism? How do you take the Bahamas into everyone's homes? And this isn't as expensive as you might think. So we're going to do some tests, go out into the water, and this is going to be really fun, because I also write films, so I want to play with this technology regardless. There we go. Solar power, I know this was mentioned a million times over, but I hear this again and 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 again. So the lady I'm doing a vacation rental from in Nassau, she said, please can you turn the lights off and the fan because the bills are really, really expensive. And I said, well, that's ridiculous. Why don't you just get solar power on the roof? And she goes, you haven't been here very long, have you? And I said, no, you've been here far too long, if that's the case. Elon Musk talked about this. He's going to reboot Puerto Rico. Now, one of the young Bahamians who was outside here has an even better idea, which I haven't been able to pass yet, but it's even smarter. I would love for him to be on the stage and explain how he's going to do that with water and tide power as well on top. But this is not good enough. $1,000 a month in AC bills is insane. Absolutely insane, and this is fixable. Now, apparently this is something to do with BPL or something that they can't dump excess power into the grid. I don't know what that means. It sounds like nonsense to me. So I'm just going to ignore them on that and get it done. Okay, now these are the guys I mentioned earlier who are doing the call center stuff down here. Slick Spaces from Vancouver. They're a young startup. One thing you need if you own a vacation home, you need some control. Some of these people are definitely control freaks, so you need to switch down your AC. You need to be able to do keypad locks. Now I work for Slick Spaces. And this is a very simple and easy, basic idea. You don't need locks anymore. If you're doing Airbnb, which also needs to happen here as well, you've got 5 people staying at your house in a week. You don't give them all a key. You go onto the website and you program a key code and you're done. Switch everything off in your house and you open your door and you close your door remotely. Unlike Amazon Key, which came out, which is the worst idea I've seen in about 20 years. It was appalling at that point. So those guys are around, but they came all the way down from Vancouver for this. So they flew 16 hours to come down to Grand Bahama to hear what was going on here so they can come and find out. They've got all the home automation stuff. And this is, I know Alive are going in this direction as well. The conversations are pretty good here, but there's no reason not to do smart homes because it's needed here more than it's needed anywhere else in the world. We're getting towards the end and we've got a couple more. Now I've got some really crazy ideas which are going to be fun. Bahamian history is being lost. I'm hearing that a lot. I hear that in taxis. Taxi drivers tell me all the time that Bahamian history is oral tradition that's being lost. I didn't know Greycliff, for example, had a prison underneath it. I didn't know it had tunnels that led, apparently, to Parliament. What brought me here was the history. It was the history of, commerce restored. Pirates of the Caribbean. I love all that stuff. It's romantic. It's cinematic. Augmented reality is really fun. You guys probably know it as Pokemon Go, I should imagine. Most people know it in that kind of way. Imagine you've got a tablet and you're in, forgive me again for being downtown Nassau. You've got photorealistic CGI. And you can hire a tablet and you see the pirate ship coming into the bay. Like it was a Hollywood movie. Again, not amazingly hard to do because Apple have just bought out a whole new set of tools to do that with. But we can tell Bahamian history that way and we can relive it and we can preserve it digitally. All right, this is my last slide for my crazy ideas, but I wanted to spend a little bit of time on this because I love the Bahamas and I like talking about how much I love the Bahamas. What's interesting, this is a bit of a side note, and it's a bit of a left field thing, so again, forgive me, it's not about technology, but the internet can be a very sterile place. It's going into some very strange places, whether you look into things like postmodernism or you see some of these strange philosophical diversions people are taking. The Bahamas has something better to give than the rest of the other countries combined, which is Bahamian personality and Bahamian culture. And I've got so much to say, I feel like I'm going to burst because I love this country so much. Bahamians are playful, they're kind, they're gentle, they're wise. Half of them are quite brilliant, some of them are utterly mad. But they're gentle and they are, I think the best way to put it, playful is the best way to put it. They're the seasoning, the flavoring. The internet's a bit sterile. Some people's ideas are terrible. What we need is we need some Bahamian humor, some Bahamian color. Have you seen what your country looks like when you put it over satellite? It's completely blessed. There's no other country in the world that looks like that from space. It's incredible. Outdoor life, quality of life. Conch, not sure about, because I'm still 50-50 on Conch. Outdoor living, the beauty of the nature of the islands. The hunger here, the support for communities, mother's wit, which I would love as well. There is so much that the Bahamas can bring. We desperately need flavoring, we need seasoning, we need the Bahamian heart, the Bahamian respect for elders, the need and love of education is a huge thing. I love talk radio here because other people are talking about Kim Kardashian and Bahamians are talking about philosophy. They're talking about politics and they're talking about things that matter. And I've never been anywhere in the Bahamas without having a conversation about things that matter. So we need the heart of the Bahamas, the mind of the Bahamas, the family and the support and the prayerfulness of the Bahamas as well on top of that. And it's incredibly important. Please don't just think it's about technology. It's about spirit. So I'm going to finish off and thank you so much for welcoming me today. And I've had fun as well. This has been great. Listen to this. Thank you. I've got 5 crazy ideas for you. And this is sort of one of those things, it's always fun to look at bad ideas. Some of these might be bad, but I hope they might be a bit inspiring because again, in the spirit of Bahamian playfulness, that you might enjoy them. So my first idea for this, I don't know if you guys have heard this, there's an organization online called Cicada 3301. They're a very secretive hacking cooperative, is the best way to describe them. They recruit every couple of, and they post puzzles online. People have posited that they're the CIA or MI6 and all these different types of shadowy organizations. But you notice what they say at the top. We're looking for highly intelligent technical people, which is basically Silicon Valley people. And you don't know what they're drawing. It could be some Illuminati stuff, I have no idea. However, we can definitely borrow. So here we are in the pirate history, with all this romance and cinema, gold and galleons. If we want to get Silicon Valley people here, and I'd love to do this, how about we post an annual challenge every year, 10 grand, saying we'll hide it in the Keys, somewhere on an island somewhere, and we're going to set some cryptography puzzles every year for people to go sailing around and go and find it. That's number one. That's going to draw a lot of nerds, people with Metallica t-shirts and long hair and all those types. Number 2, this is suggested by my friend James, who's Costa Rican. Why, if we have a problem with scalability with government services, if we have people asking questions like, where's my money? Why do I have to pay you tax? Why aren't you fixing our roads? Etc., etc. We've got chatbots, we can do that now. Simple programmable APIs that can handle at least 70% of some very common inquiries. Where's my local hospital? How do I get where I need to be? Again, massive scale, something very simple. I love this one as well. Drone racing. I don't know if you guys have heard about this before. My nephew is crazy about this. All the kids in Canada are crazy about it as well. You put on your goggles with Wi-Fi and you have your drone and you fly through the drone. Now, can you imagine anywhere here, anywhere in the world that would be more beautiful than flying over the islands here? I can't imagine anywhere better. You need a SIM card, so Mr. CEO of Alive, anytime you want to oblige us. There's nowhere. Nobody's got the first ever drone circuit. Let's do it in Grand Bahama. Why not? Bring everyone for holidays. We've got 20 megasecond internet. Let's go drone racing. And we can stream it live on YouTube or anywhere else where I want to. It's quite fun. Electric car Grand Prix. They had one of these in Montreal recently. Electric cars. Why don't we go down Long Island? We create a little racing circuit. This is a terrible car for racing in. Terrible. But the idea behind this is that the car charges itself while it's driving with wireless electricity, which is new. But we've got the land and we've got the thing. Why not? Where else would you want to drive and have a race? And my last one, this is my favorite one. People think I'm insane for this, but I would love to do this. This would be so much fun. We're going to turn Andros into a safari park, an African one. It's a national park. It's already there. It's huge. It kind of looks like Africa. If you look at it on the map, I lived in Africa for many years, and it was lots of fun. But there's lots of conservation. Let's put some lions and some big five in there. Can you imagine if America had they had a safari park in their backyard? You'd make billions. And it's a national park already. I'd love to go and see a lion in Andros. It'd be a Bahamian lion. Really friendly. Until you annoyed it and it bit you. So what I wanted to finish with, and thank you so much for humouring me and obliging me, which, this is again my final slide. This is their hashtag thing. This is what I think you guys should sell it on. It's very simple. I actually said this to someone who's quite important and influential here, and they said, right, we're going to go and buy the domain name and trade it, trademark it. But this is ultimately what the sales pitch is. You already have a paradise. It's very simple. You already have this. We need a digital paradise. If we've got unlimited connectivity, if we have unlimited insight with the people and unlimited hunger, and we have a government with unlimited willingness to get in there and help, we can do this. It's incredibly simple to achieve. You don't need to sell this. Your pictures sell it. Anything you put up a camera and you put it anywhere in the Bahamas, it's a work of art. You'll have hordes of it. I'm a Silicon Valley guy theoretically. I don't like calling myself that, but I'm the kind of person you want to attract. I'm a digital nomad, 15 years of experience. I work in this every day. You're thinking, how do I get people like me, or maybe not people like me, maybe like people who are nicer, who aren't mean about the government. How do you get people like me, or others in the same trade, to the Bahamas to get moving and get helping? You don't need to, because I'm already here. And I came here of my own volition. I didn't need you to pull me here. I wanted to come. I just needed to know that you had all those types of things. It was an easy sell for me. So my point to this is, especially for the government influential types here on this thing, is my Bahamian brothers and sisters and friends say they want me here to help. I'm here to help. I want to get involved. What can I do for you? Let's get going. I don't want to do it like yesterday. Let's do it tomorrow. And I'll help. I know, one final note before I've expired all my time. I wanted to say thank you. One point, that's it. I just want to say thank you. My family came here 2 weeks ago, and I got to bring my sister to paradise. And they never thought they could actually do it. But they had a brother who was here, and my niece got to play in the water for the first time. And it was a bit of a strange thing. It was very emotional for my sister. She never thought she'd come, because in British culture, the Bahamas is very mysterious and exotic and expensive, and it's where you go to retire, effectively, and sit in the sun. But my little niece was playing in the water, and it was an amazingly emotional moment for me. I never thought I'd end up here. For me, it's like this is God's gift after a couple of tough years. And I said, "How do you like the Bahamas?" And she said, "I hate you," which is. And I said, "No, what about the country? What do you think about the country?" And she goes, "This is the best country ever." And I've been here for 4 months, and I cannot disagree with that. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. Thank you. That's it. I'm going to the other side. I'm going to use profanity. Ooh, thank you.